Chelsea's summer plan for 2026 is looking absolutely insane. Today we are diving deep into the three massive midfield targets on our radar. Hard truth behind Julián Álvarez link. Plus, we need to talk about the return of Nicolas Jackson. And finally, the news we all dreaded. We have been dealt with a massive blow with Marc Cucurella. But before we dive into this video, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you know the details. Help your boy get to that 10k subscriber mark. Let's dive into it. Look, I wanted to come here and talk about summer signings. But let's start with the negatives. We have to talk about the massive hole in our defense. According to Kieran Gill of the Daily Mail, Chelsea are sweating on the hamstring scan result of Marc Cucurella as they wait to find out how long he'll be out. I mean, are we even surprised at this point? Every time we think of getting a bit momentum, the Chelsea injury cause strikes again. And then we got the update from Nicolas counselor. Marc Cucurella is hoping to return in 3 to 4 weeks, having had a scam on his hamstring. 3 to 4 weeks, we are talking about missing games against Burnley, Arsenal and Aston Villa. This is a disaster, but if I'm being honest with you guys, it's been a long time coming. Cucurella has been playing week in, week out for both club and country for 2 seasons now. The man isn't a robot. We have run him into the grounds because we don't have a backup that the coaching staff actually trusts. Genuinely, I blame Maresca for this. I liked him, but his squad management in that position was questionable. He had Renato Veiga right there, a player who could have filled in and give Cucurella a rest, but he refused to use him properly when he had the chance. And then there is Julián. We know the talent is there, but clearly Maresca didn't trust him. However, look at Hato's performance against Hull City. That game showed us the kind of player we have in our hands. Now that he's under Liam Rosenior, he's got a clean slate. I'm telling you, this is his golden opportunity to step up and prove everyone wrong, especially the gaffer, that we don't need sweating every time a starter goes down. We have got the talent, but we are out here playing injury roulette because we won't rotate. Honestly, it's frustrating, it's avoidable, and it's putting our European spot at risk. Well, moving on to the latest talks. We need to discuss the 2 hottest prospects in the league right now. It feels like every time we open our phone, these 2 names are being shouted from the rooftop, and for good reasons. According to Kieran Gill, Chelsea has been long admirers of Adam Wharton at Crystal Palace and linked to Elliot Anderson at Nottingham Forest. However, it remains to be seen if Chelsea are willing to spend big on the midfield position. For me, I rate both of them highly, but it comes down to what we want as a club and what the system needs. Both Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton has emerged as top-tier midfield target for us heading into this 2026 summer window. Both are technically gifted, don't get it twisted, but they offer 2 different profiles for what we are trying to build under Liam Rosenior. First, let's talk about Anderson. Since he left Newcastle for Forest, he has transformed into an absolute all-action monster. If you are looking for intensity, this is the guy. We are talking about a versatile 8 who can sit deep, drift into right half spaces to cause chaos. His physicality is what has been missing in those soft performances lately. He's in the 76th percentile for defensive contribution. He's not just a bowler, he's a fighter. Now the question is, why do we need him? Because he provides the engine that we sometimes lack. Imagine him leading the press, winning second balls, basically doing the dirty work to let Enzo Fernandez focus on the architect stuff. He's got that personality and drive that can actually handle the pressure of wearing the Chelsea shirt. Plus, he's currently #1 in the league for offensive action in the final third. That's elite. Then you have Adam Wharton. If Anderson is the engine, Adam Wharton is the deep-lying playmaker specialist. He's a system player through and through. I've heard people call him a chess player because he sees the game 3 steps ahead. He uses those disguised passes and body feints to make opponents' pressing line disappear. What's the case for Adam Wharton? If we want to dominate possession from deep, Adam Wharton left-footed passing angle gives us tactical advantage nobody in the squad provides. We already created 9 big chances this season, 0 goals. But who cares when you are the metronome of the team? If you put him next to Caicedo, who can actually cover ground and handle the physical duels, Wharton literally dictates tempo of every match against those annoying low block defenses that always frustrate us. So what's the move? Do we go for all action energy of Anderson to breach the defense and attack? Or do we go for pure control of Adam Wharton? The board is hesitant because we already spent $1 billion on this squad. But if we are being real, if we want to compete at the very top in 2027, one of these 2 has to be in blue. I'm leaning towards Anderson for the grit, but I know the tacticals among you want Wharton for the vibes. But moving on, If you thought the Anderson Wharton links were spicy, wait until you hear this. We are apparently looking at our rival across London for a solution to our midfield depth. According to David Ornstein, Tottenham rebuffed inquiries from rivals for Lucas Bergvall in January. Chelsea plus Aston Villa made contacts to check situation while looking to strengthen midfield and aid the 20-year-old reduced role, but Tottenham cleared no plan to consider exit. Yes, you heard that right. We made contact with Spurs in January to see if we could snatch away their golden boy. And honestly, I don't blame the board for trying. It's 2026 and Lucas Bergvall is easily one of the most talked about young midfielders in the country. Even though Spurs slammed the door shut in January, he remains a high priority target heading into the summer. Look at the profile. Bergvall is a 20-year-old Swedish international who is basically fearless. While his minutes has been up and down this season and he has even been struck out wide at times, his score stats don't lie. The boy is elite at receiving ball in tight spaces. He doesn't panic. He turns under pressure and always look for forward pass instead of safe, boring back pass we often see. He's in the 75th percentile for progressive carries. He uses that speed and stamina to drive the team from the middle third to the final third. In 17 Premier League appearances, only 10 starts, he's got a goal and 2 assists. But it's the 70% successful dribble rate that catches my eye. The reason I think we wanted him in January and why I think we could go back is because of our medical room nightmare. After that injury to Dario Sugo, we viewed Bergvall as an ideal immediate reinforcement. He fits that bridge role perfectly. He can bridge the gap between Moses Caicedo's defensive disruption and more static playmaking we get from Enzo. Even our data analyst gave him a 68 out of 100 club fit score, suggesting he's a near fit for the heavy possession style Liam Rosenior is trying to implement. He gives us that versatility we desperately need when we are trying to break down a low block. But here is the catch. Spurs have him on a contract till 2031 and they have labelled him not for sale. And if we want to actually pull this off, we are looking at a fee approaching 9 figures. But moving on, we have to talk about the most confusing story of the week. 1 minute is coming to the bridge, the next is not even on the list. I'm talking about Julián Álvarez. According to Kieran Gill, despite leaks, Julián Álvarez is not among the names Chelsea are currently chasing for the summer. Chelsea are anticipating a busy summer with midfield and attacking candidates in mind. It remains to be seen whether Chelsea feels the need to spend big again on midfield, or whether it would be wiser to chase a target who could cost less, but for their value to increase. But wait, if you listen to the crew over in Argentina, it's completely different story. Chelsea are quietly advancing for Julián Álvarez. They tell me their conversation. Moreover, they told me that part of the agency or the agents who handled the transfer for Julián, they are in London this week watching Chelsea Arsenal match. So who do we believe? On one hand, we have the London local reporter saying we are looking for value for money and young prospects whose value could increase. On the other, we have the players' own camp allegedly sitting in our stand watching us play Arsenal. For me, I would love to have Álvarez. The guy is a winner. World Cups, Champions League, Premier League, he's done it all by 26, but we have to be realistic here. I don't think it's possible for a few big reasons. First, the transfer fee. Atleti paid nearly 95 million euros for him. They aren't going to let him go for a loss. We are looking at a 100 million price tag. Then the wage bill. Our wage bill is starting to look a bit more sensible. Bringing in a superstar like Álvarez on Man City level wages could blow the whole thing up again. And we have to talk about the most important, the transfer strategy. As Kieran Gill reported, the club seems to want players they can build. We have already got names like Emmanuel Emega and Dastan Sepeth lined up for the summer. Do we really need to go and drop 100 million on a striker when we have other holes to fill? I rate him, I really do. He's that clinical edge we have been missing since forever. But between the transfer fees and the wages, it feels like this might just be agent talks to get him a better deal elsewhere or put pressure on Atletico Madrid. What do you guys think? Is the spider the missing piece, or are we right to look for cheaper, high potential options? But now moving on, we have to talk about a player who is technically still ours, but it feels like he's been gone for years. I'm talking about Nicolas Jackson. Remember the drama last summer, the deadline day chaos, him refusing to come back to London and eventually forcing that loan to Germany? Well, the latest from Fabrizio basically confirms what we all suspected. Nicolas Jackson will return to Chelsea in the summer, but he won't stay at Bayern. So keep an eye on this, because he has always been well regarded in Italy. I'm going to be blunt. I think if he returns, he's leaving. Look, Nicolas Jackson went to Bayern looking to be the guy, but the spark never ignited. It was a massive loan fee, over £40 million, and we even had a £56 million obligation to buy India. But because he has been away at AFCON and he hasn't hit the appearance target, that obligation isn't going to trigger. Bayern aren't going to pay £60 million for a backup to Hurricane, who only had a handful goal this season. Before he joined us from Villarreal, top Serie A clubs are upset with him. His agent Ali Barat even said recently that Nicolas Jackson is attracted by Italian football. In a league that's a bit more tactical, maybe gives him a split seconds more on the ball, he could actually thrive. Whether it's AC Milan, Inter, or even a reunion with some familiar faces elsewhere, Italy feels like the reset button his career needs. But why can't he come back and play for us? Honestly, look at this squad. Under Liam Rosenior, we have moved on. We have got Joao Pedro, Leon Delap, Emmanuel Emega joining from Strasbourg. There is no space for a player who, let's be real, burned his bridges when he forced that move through last year. I don't see any world where he walks back into Cobham and gets a locker. Chelsea will want to recoup as much as that £80 million valuation as possible. If we can get a club in Italy or even a Premier League club like Aston Villa to pay up, we'll take the money and run. Honestly, it's a shame because the talent was there, but the Chelsea Jackson story is considered over. And with that said, that's the end of the video, my friends. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You go be.